Hey, welcome back. I had a warning shot fired across my bow by, I suppose, MI5 about two keywords that they picked up on my YouTube account. The Scottish Quarry and Gruinard Island. Sorry, I pronounced it Gruinard. It's Gruinard Island and Anthrax. Both are very important to UK national security. I just thought it was a good film, but it seems that I've overstepped the mark. Let me tell you what they did to me. So the first thing that happened is I got almost no views. Nobody seemed very interested. YouTube probably were told not to suggest a film about a terrorist activity. And the kind of replies I got in the comments were, "It's all rubbish. It's only a quarry. There you go again, talking about this wee quarry." Okay. It seemed there was a very fast response in the comments by people who wanted to play down what I was saying was only possibly going on at the quarry, and also having the two key words, the quarry and Gruinard Island and Anthrax, bonk, somehow raised a flag. So this YouTube account, this one you are watching now, and they probably know who you are as well, was modified by, I guess, MI5 or GCHQ, who hacked into my account and changed a lot of its stuff that only I would see as a creator. If you go into YouTube creator tools, I could see what they did, and I went, hang on a minute, I didn't write that. They changed the description of the film, and they changed the title of the film. What it was a message to me saying, "We have control over your horizontal and vertical." Yeah, I guess so. But the question is, viewers, if you're still here, is why? Well, I think that the quarry obviously is very sensitive. A lot of people said it's only a quarry. It's publicly known that it's not only a quarry, it's actually on a government document. The UK government know all about it. It's very important. It's potentially a future site for high-level nuclear waste storage. They're looking at it. And has that process already begun? I don't know. I think it's quite unlikely that it's a secret submarine base. I think I got that wrong. I think Loch Linney is a training ground for UK submarines. It's very deep, and they do navigation exercises in the loch. Local fishermen know, they see the submarines. Putting the submarines in a active blasting quarry seems really stupid. I think they're building something there, and they definitely have a team of armed security guards. I mean, it could just be because it's a target by SNP and people who don't like quarrying and the environmental effects of affecting beautiful Argyll. But I think it's more than that. And when innocent wee me did a film linking both Anthrax and Gruinard and the quarry, bling! Somebody's weekend was spoilt and had to hack into my account to clearly show me, the filmmaker who goes by the pseudonym Professor Simon, where to go. So yeah, it's sensitive. And then I found out why. So you remember this week clip that I showed with Fife, who was a reporter for the Tonight programme in 1962, saying it was maybe possible that anthrax spores had crossed onto the mainland Scotland. And this farmer said, yeah, his sheep had died unexpectedly in the spring. And it turns out, and I didn't know, that it was a much bigger problem. Cattle, dogs, and specifically horses on the mainland across from the island continued to die in the 60s, 70s, and 80s until a very secret Scottish organisation borrowed a boat and went across to Gruinard Island, which is completely out of bounds and it was still officially contaminated, and took soil samples and put them in biscuit tins, 2 biscuit tins. One they mailed to Porton Down for them to check whether it was still contaminated with anthrax. Anthrax actually lives in the soil for maybe centuries. It's a bacterial infection that will kill you. It's a 75% death rate in humans, almost always fatal in animals unless it's caught very early. There is an antibacterial agent that you can ask for. I remember an anthrax story which I'd completely forgotten. So I grew up in the borders of Scotland, the knitwear producing area, where millions of tons of wool was washed and carded, separated into its fibres and sent to the big famous knitwear manufacturers, Braemar, Pringle, etc. And there was a health and safety alert in Hoyk, where I lived, and in the area, no doubt, where they had this euphemistically known wool carding disease. It wasn't wool carding disease. A number of people died actually from anthrax poisoning in the wool industry. The wool had anthrax that was part of the wool of the animal. The animal was infected. And when you sheared a sheep and processed the wool, the spores were released in the factory. And it was actually quite well known that processing wool was dirty and was potentially hazardous. It was euphemistically called wool carding disease. But in fact, these poor people died maybe 6-7 weeks from anthrax poisoning, which is almost always fatal unless it's caught early. So that was just ignored in Scotland. But back to the biscuit tins. There were 2 biscuit tins. One, which was contaminated from the island, was mailed to Portendown, and the other biscuit tin was hidden at the Conservative Party conference headquarters in Blackpool Tower to scare the willy out of Margaret Thatcher and her government. It was discovered. It was obviously come from Scotland. The samples were taken and, it was potentially very hazardous to the Conservative government. But Scotland Yard and MI5 went ballistic. You can imagine the kind of fuss that went on in the Scottish community across from the island. Everybody was investigated. The guy who owned the boat claimed that his boat was borrowed, and there's a wee note saying, "Thanks for the lend of the boat, and sorry we cut your chain." And it was a big story that I didn't know about. But it worked. Portendown confirmed anthrax spores were still viable on the Gruinard Island, and Margaret Thatcher said, "Clean it up." And it was. It was completely sprayed with seawater and formaldehyde and scraped off. And now today you can visit Gruinard Island and sheep graze on there. Okay, hopefully there's no livestock deaths anymore on the mainland. So that's why we filmmakers like me are important. We raise issues that raise flags with MI5, GCHQ, internal security, whatever, because we raise interesting topics. If it hadn't been for the Scottish activists sending the biscuit tins of soil to Margaret Thatcher, the island still might be contaminated today. So I take these things very seriously. And obviously somebody, you who are monitoring this channel, good morning, are taking what I'm saying kind of seriously enough to actually modify my YouTube account. So thanks a lot, GCHQ or MI5. It proves that I was really onto something. And thank you for watching. Please support this film and tell the authorities you like it by giving it a thumbs up. Stay tuned for more.